If you're a serious history buff or a dedicated survivalist, stick with me, because what you're about to hear is one of those forgotten technologies that makes you shake your head and wonder how we ever lost it. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to The Prepper Historian so you don't miss the rare, buried knowledge that actually matters. Now, let's hook you properly. The Vikings built ships that crossed brutal northern oceans, endured salt, storms, cold rot, fungal attack, and rain cycles that would destroy modern untreated wood in a fraction of the time. Yet these people, without laboratories or synthetic preservatives, created a wood-preserving dip so effective that archaeologists still find its residue clinging to planks more than 1,000 years later. It wasn't magic, it wasn't guesswork, and it wasn't luck. It was chemistry, observation, and brutal practicality, exactly the kind of knowledge preppers and historians should keep alive. Why the Vikings developed this wood dip in the first place needs to be understood before we talk about the mixture itself. The Norse lived in a climate that punished wood relentlessly. Saltwater, freeze-thaw cycles, constant dampness, and high fungal activity meant that unprotected timber failed fast. Shipbuilding wasn't optional, it was the backbone of their economy, warfare, and exploration. A rotting hull wasn't an inconvenience, it was a death sentence. So the Vikings turned to what they had in abundance: pine, tar, animal fat, and fire. The result wasn't a thin coating smeared across the surface. It was a heated, penetrating dip that bonded to the cellular structure of the wood and locked out moisture and microorganisms with surprising longevity. How the Vikings created pine tar reveals how advanced their practical chemistry really was. Every part of the process mattered. They didn't just burn wood and scrape up the residue. They used a slow-burning, oxygen-restricted method that forced sap to liquefy and drip as raw tar. The setup wasn't complicated, but it required precision. A conical pit lined with green turf was filled with stacked pine roots or resin-rich stumps. The wood was covered, leaving only a small opening for ignition. When lit, the wood cooked rather than burned, and the tar dripped down a channel into a collection pit. That tar was then gently heated to purify and concentrate it. When mixed with a small amount of rendered animal fat, it thinned just enough to penetrate deeper into timber while remaining hydrophobic. This mixture formed the base of their dip. The actual dipping method shows exactly why this treatment works better than modern surface coatings. Viking shipbuilders heated the tar-fat mixture in a long trough until it became extremely thin. Planks were lowered into it while still warm from smoothing or shaping, allowing the wood's open pores to drink the mixture in. The goal wasn't to coat the surface, but to saturate the fibres. Because the tar mixture was hot and thin, it wickered several millimetres deep, creating a barrier that remained flexible even in extreme cold. When that wood cooled, the mixture essentially solidified inside it. Modern oil-based coatings sit on top. The Viking dip lived inside the wood itself. Modern preppers and historical woodworkers can still use this method effectively, and here's how. If someone wants to replicate the method today, all the ingredients still exist, and the process is almost identical. The simplest version is heating high-quality pine tar slowly until it thins, then adding a small amount of rendered fat. Beef tallow works extremely well. The ratio ranges from 10 parts tar to 1 part fat, sometimes 2 parts, depending on the desired viscosity. Outdoors, in a metal pot, the mixture is heated until it becomes pourable. A wooden tool handle, a bow stave, axe haft, or even homestead fencing can be dipped or brushed while the wood is still warm from the sun or a heat gun. The key is slow, warm absorption. Multiple warm coats build a level of protection that rivals commercial preservatives without synthetic chemicals. All right, let's dive into a practical example. Imagine you have a new axe handle. Start by warming it until it feels hot to the touch. Then brush on the thinned tar. You'll notice it disappearing as the pores eagerly take it in. Keep warming and recoating until the wood simply refuses to drink any more. Once it cools, the handle will resist water, rot and fungal growth, all while maintaining a good grip, even in wet conditions. Now consider another example. Homestead garden stakes that usually rot in 2 seasons can actually last 4 to 6 with this treatment. And if you're feeling ambitious, you can build a small trough from scrap metal and dip entire planks for outbuildings, sheds, or even small boat repairs. Understanding why this dip resists rot unveils the sheer brilliance behind it. Pine tar contains phenols and resin acids that inhibit fungal growth and repel insects. When you combine it with fat, it gains both flexibility and deep penetration. Wood treated in this manner doesn't crack as easily, and because the tar hydrophobically binds to the fibres, moisture can't easily enter. Rot organisms, you see, depend on moisture and oxygen. The Viking dip removes one and reduces the other. This is why fragments of Viking ships, excavated from bogs or beaches, still hold visible layers of tar. It's not a miracle. It's simple, yet powerful chemistry applied with intent. So, why is it that almost nobody uses this method anymore? It comes down to convenience, not effectiveness. Modern preservatives are easy, fast and mass-produced. But ask anyone who works with timber in harsh conditions. Linseed oil and surface sealers don't quite match up to full saturation tar treatments. The Viking dip requires time, heat and hands-on work. That's really the only reason it faded. Yet, for preppers who need long-term solutions that don't rely on supply chains, it's absolutely invaluable. If you're looking to keep old knowledge alive, this is the kind of craft worth resurrecting. This isn't just reenactment trivia. This is usable technology that served warriors, traders, explorers and settlers who relied on wood just like modern society relies on plastic and steel. If you can master even a simplified version of this dip, you gain a tool that outperforms modern quick fixes. If you learned something new today, why not subscribe to The Prepper Historian and share this guide with someone who loves forgotten skills as much as you do?